Right, launched last July, the NASD over-the-counter trading platform has now registered 8 companies from a wide range of sectors, including oil and gas, consumer goods, and insurance. 60 stockbrokers have also joined the platform, and now I speak to Bola Ajomale, the CEO of the NASD, to get an update on what we can expect going forward. Thank you so much, Bola, for joining us, and of course, congratulations on the successful launch. But many will say, well, it's a bit slow so far, 3 months in, and we've only seen 8 companies listed, although interesting companies, I must add, some in the oil and gas space. A lot of people hoping to get exposure into that are getting that opportunity now. Can you just talk us through how things have worked out over the last 3 months?
Well, thanks for coming back to us, Wally. It's been a very interesting period. First of all, it's actually quite fast-moving from our point of view. We're breaking a 50-year tradition so far in the capital market. There's never been an organized over-the-counter market. It's always been you're either listed on the Nigerian Stock Exchange or you're trading in a black market somewhere where there's been no transparency and no vision or no visibility to trades that are going on. So really what we've been doing is building a very strong and very stable structure on which shareholders who are holders in companies that are not listed on an exchange can actually see the transactions that are going on, and they can see the value at which those transactions are being executed. Now, obviously, since we're building a whole structure, the very first thing we focused on is building the operators themselves.
Right.
And that's why our first focus was on building the number of operators. Well, getting the rules out, first of all, getting everybody to understand the rules of the market. Of course, when you have a disorganized market, there are no rules, and then when you're bringing order to it, you have to bring in some rules to it and get everybody to buy into the rules.
Right.
That was the first phase, and then bringing the operators in was the second phase. We've now got 45. We should have about 60 by the end of this month, and by the end of the year, we expect we should have about 75 brokers operating in that market. I think when we have 75 brokers, we really do have like 80% of the trading population entrenched and understanding the market.
All right, so fair point. The brokers do the trading, they make the market in a sense, but then we need those securities, and like I mentioned, only 8 so far. Correct. I think a lot of people were hoping that we'd see quite a few of those private placements in the 2008, 2009 era coming into this market. Can you just give us an update on progress in bringing such securities to this platform?
Well, that's another big difference that I need to point out, and the way the markets move. Whereas in a listed market, you get the issuers bringing their shares. In an OTC market, you get the investors bringing their shares. So what we have, the 8 companies we have, are really the investors in those 8 companies who wanted to trade their shares. So what I would say is, if there's any investor who wants to trade his shares, if he doesn't see the name of his company on the list, all he needs to do is take his certificate over to a broker. We get the account opened. We get the shares listed on our market within about a week after due diligence. The only thing we require for a company to be traded is for it to be registered with SEC, essentially. Once it's registered with SEC as a PLC, it can be traded. All right. So what you're seeing in the 8 companies essentially are the 8 companies that investors have brought. If any investor wants to trade any securities that are not there on that list, they should just submit them to a stockbroker.
All right. But then I think a lot will expect that the NASD will do some business development on its own as well, try to bring those companies on board. Can you just talk to us on progress made in that respect?
We've had quite a few discussions with the companies, and some really are not ready or inclined to listing their full share capital on a stock exchange. However, they do not mind, of course, once you go a PLC, you do not mind having your shares transferred freely among the investors. For some of them, it's been a lot of education. For others, it's been a matter of them being very welcoming. I mean, we've had 1 or 2 companies who have been very welcoming and very encouraging, saying this is exactly what they've been waiting for. Right. So we are visiting around the companies. Every week we visit about 3 or 4 companies, reach out to them, and they say, absolutely, if my shareholders want to, of course, they have full support in going ahead and trading on this market.
Any telcos in the mix? I think a lot of people hoping that maybe the likes of MTN, Airtel, perhaps those shares traded on this platform.
I believe once they're registered as a PLC, their shareholders are free to trade their shares on this market. Some of them are full equities that are registered with the SEC. Others are index-linked notes. which
right.
are not registered with the SEC.
Right.
And I think it will take us a few more days and weeks of wondering how we can trade those instruments,
right.
because they're not really public instruments, so it's a bit more difficult for us to trade them on this platform.
Right. It will really be exciting to get a sense of the valuations of those companies. Hopefully you can make some progress in that respect. Thank you so much for joining us, Bola Ajomade, the CEO of the NASD, talking us through